The Nintendo GameCube was one of the least polygonal products manufactured in Reggie's garage. It came out September 14, 2001 in Japan, only 3 days after the September 11th attacks on the World Trade Center in New York. Personally, if me and my 3 friends were going to hijack 4 planes, I would have taken them to Haneda Airport in Tokyo and waited to get a Nintendo GameCube at launch, and then we could have all enjoyed Wave Race Blue Storm together. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to be involved in the 9/11 plane hijackings because I was only a few years old at the time. Even when the GameCube came out in America a few months later, I still wasn't able to get my hands on it because I was still a baby. In fact, I wouldn't actually get a GameCube until Christmas 2005. I know this because it came bundled in with Mario Party 7 and that little microphone thing that Mario Party 7 came bundled with. Now you may be asking, why buy a GameCube when the Wii was already announced and said to come out in less than a year? I didn't fucking know! I was too busy playing Elmo's Number Adventure on the Nintendo 64. I only had Mario Party 3 and now you're telling me there's Mario Party 7? And it's not as good? Seriously, what was this thing? Who thought this was a good idea? Not prepubescent me, that's for sure. Even though me and my brother spent countless hours playing this, most of the time we just leave the mic unplugged so we don't have to play any of those weird minigames. Yes, Reggie, this is all I need to play Mario Party. The GameCube controller. A Smash Bros. Player's sex toy. I never got the hype around these things. It looks like one of Floop's Fluglies from Spy Kids. It's all lumpy and misshapen. Sure, it's better than the Nintendo 64 controller, but I think I'd be more impressed if it was somehow worse. But the design aside, the actual feel of the controller is great. It's always been comfortable to hold, it's got a decent heft to it so it doesn't feel like cheap plastic. The triggers being analog was something I never appreciated as a kid, but now I'm pissed that every controller doesn't have that. I could do without this particular Z button though. Truly the black sheep of buttons on a GameCube controller. The Z button feels neither like a face button nor a trigger. The GameCube controller isn't like a PS2 controller, so usually not resting your index and middle fingers on top. The natural way to hold it is that your index fingers are resting on the L and R triggers, with the middle ring and pinky fingers being behind the controller. That means if you want to press the Z button, you have to take your finger off the right trigger. Now, this has not been a problem in any video game ever made, but it is something that I spend my time thinking about, and now you have to think about it too. You might say this can be solved by pretending it's a PlayStation controller and keeping 4 fingers up top, but there's nothing for your left index finger to rest on, so no, I'm not doing that. The controller for the Nintendo 64 had a real ass Z button. It was an actual trigger, like it was a gun. As an American, this feels much more natural. But enough about the Nintendo 64, let's get back to the main star of the show. Look at this thing. As far as Nintendo console designs go, this has to be my favorite. The NES and Super NES are great and iconic in their own right, but the 64 always looked like a kid's toy to me, probably because of how monocolor and featureless it was. Maybe if it had like a giant Pikachu on it, I'd take it more seriously. But the GameCube has this striking simplicity that I just love. It even has a handle. You can beat a man to death with a GameCube. Now I'm gonna rag on the GameCube a lot in this video, but I want to make it perfectly clear that the GameCube was one of my favorite video game consoles. Obviously, I think the Wii is better, but that's only because you can play GameCube games in addition to Wii games. If I had to choose between playing only GameCube discs and only playing Wii discs, I'd have to go with the GameCube. Let's be real, the Wii sequels to GameCube games either lacked the soul of the original or otherwise made it worse through motion controls. Mario Sunshine and Mario Galaxy. There have been countless internet arguments between lonely virgins over which mainline Mario game is better. Now it's my turn! There are pros and cons to each game obviously, and your favorite might mostly come down to personal preference. Some people prefer Sunshine's open, free roaming worlds, while others may prefer Galaxy's more linear obstacle course type levels. Anyone who tries to claim that either of these games are bad would have to be pretty dumb, but I just find myself coming back to Sunshine more often. I've always enjoyed the wider array of movement options available in this one. It allows the player to come up with their own lateral solutions that I feel like just aren't possible in Galaxy. Having the open space to maneuver around with your own style is much more fun than Galaxy's linear level design. In my opinion, fuck you. Galaxy's levels are fun too, but once you beat it, there's not really like a different way to beat it, you know? No? Okay. Of course, there's also the fact that some Sunshine levels are just the fucking worst, but I'm trying to be positive here, so let's not think about the lily pad river thing. It doesn't exist. I don't know how controversial it is to say this, but I've always felt that the Mario Party games got progressively worse after the third one and eventually bottomed out with Mario Party 9 and 10. Like I said, Mario Party 7 was my first GameCube Mario Party and I never felt the need to play 4, 5, or 6 that much. Maybe they're all perfect masterpieces and 100 times better than the others, but I can't go check now, I'm already making the video, sorry. All I know is that Mario Party 7 is better than Mario Party 8. Now, to remind everyone watching this, I love every game we're talking about and they were my childhood. However, why would I ever want to shake my Wii remote when I can mash a button? Pointing at the screen? Cringe. Microphone peripherals? Based. Apparently Mario Kart Wii is hot shit, but I rented it from a Blockbuster once and I thought it sucked ass. The original part of this video involved me going on a rant about how Mario Kart Wii forces you to use motion controls, but I made the very spur-of-the-moment decision to fact-check my information, and I found out that you can actually use GameCube and Classic controllers, making my original point completely mute. But as a kid, I didn't know that, so I can't really compare them fairly because my experience is tainted, especially when Mario Kart Wii has Funky Kong. I still gotta give it to Double Dash. Even though playing 2 players in one cart was like literally the worst way to experience that game, I still thought it was neat. This is gonna sound a bit weird, but I love teams. Like when you look at a Double Dash's roster, each character has an obvious partner that you're supposed to pair them with. You don't have to, just like you don't have to use the official cart, but the connection is there, and I enjoyed the consistency. I just like it when things are color coordinated. And then you can add the co-op gameplay on top of that, so me and my brother can coordinate with each other too. It was a fun time back in the day. Nowadays, if someone asked me to play Mario Kart, I'd obviously reach for the Switch and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. But you know, if they ever remade a Double Dash or ported it to the Switch, maybe I'd think about buying it. I probably wouldn't. The Mario Strikers series had the same problematic transition that Mario Kart did. Or rather, it had the same problem that I thought Mario Kart Wii had until like 10 minutes ago before I changed the last segment. The Mario Strikers game on Gamecube is one of, if not my favorite sports games of all time. But I mean, it doesn't have that much competition. NFL Blitz, maybe? NES Golf? I always thought that Mario Strikers had the same appeal as like the Super Smash Bros. Series, except amped up to 11. Sure, Smash takes all these cuddly Nintendo characters and makes them battle to the death, but the overall aesthetic of Smash was still pretty cartoony. Mario Strikers is badass, just look at this art. This ain't your daddy's Mario game, and this ain't your weird European uncle's soccer game either. Waluigi does a cross chop. How did this get approved? Yeah, the in-game graphics aren't too different from the usual Nintendo fare, but the viscerality of the moves are so much grittier than just a fighting game. For the most part, your attacks are just basic shoulder tackles, but the fact that it's something so simple instead of like magic fireballs and acrobatics enhances the brutality. It's like the NFL Blitz of video games. And then the sequel added this weird fake not soccer ball and then motion controls, and that's bad and dumb for obvious reasons, so we're not talking about it anymore. Hey, you might be wondering, Dunekun, you're talking about all the Wii sequels to GameCube games and how the GameCube ones are better. When are you gonna talk about Super Smash Bros. Melee? You see, the thing is that maybe sorta in a cosmic sense, I might somehow, mayhaps, prefer Super Smash Bros. Brawl over Melee. Maybe I'm just thinking out loud here. Don't give me all that junk about how Melee is more competitive and balanced or wave dashing or whatever. The fact of the matter is this: Brawl has more characters, and that means it's more fun. Look, I have a passing interest in fighting games as a genre, but certainly not for the competitive aspects. And if this makes me a dumb bitch baby, then I guess I can't argue with the facts. Now, I can acknowledge that Brawl is kind of garbage to play, and there's no reason to play it now that Ultimate exists, and Melee continues to maintain its niche almost 2 decades after its release. But, at the same time, Brawl was a fun alternative to the hyper-competitive Melee scene. No, I don't know how to wave dash. Stop asking. And of course, there's Luigi's Mansion, and its sequel, Luigi's... oh, they didn't make a sequel to Luigi's Mansion on the Wii. Huh, interesting, Nintendo. One of the best-selling GameCube games of all time, and you can't even throw it a bone, huh? Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess got a sequel. That didn't sell half as good as Luigi's Mansion. You know, Luigi's Mansion is one of my favorite games of all time, not just on the GameCube. I wish I could actually devote the time to doing a whole review of it. Unfortunately, I'm still just a lowly anime reviewer, forced to sit through seasonal drivel for search engine optimization. Sigh. Oh well.